Hey, Shuckalugga Kapow, how's it going, old schoolers? You're kicking it old school at Russell JS. I'm your host, Russell JS. Tonight, two of the greatest bands are going to duke it out over their best of collections. I'm wearing an appropriate shirt, which, it's going to be a battle royale of greatest hits. Who do I mean? That brought theatrics and pyro to hard rock concerts. I'm talking about you wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world, Kiss Double Platinum versus the bad boys of rock and roll from the wild side streets of Los Angeles, Motley Crue greatest hits. Funny thing about both these bands is how they kind of fed off each other over the years. Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee were heavily influenced by Kiss. Like Tommy Lee was obsessed with Peter Criss's drumming, and Nikki Sixx wanted to be bombastic and shocking, like lighting himself on fire and everything like that. Oh yeah, as you see, I had a Kiss t-shirt, but you know what? For this, I'm thinking about changing. What do you think? Hold on a sec. All right, here we go. Theater of Pain t-shirt, but then again, I'm kind of iffy. I'd like to wear my I'd like to wear my Motley Crue t-shirt, and I want to wear my Destroyer t-shirt. But you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and flip a coin. Heads, it'll be Kiss. Tails, it'll be Motley Crue. So here we go. And it is heads. Here we are, and it's going to be Kiss. Kiss it is. So anyway, this was Kiss in 1978. Kiss were kind of taking a hiatus because of, a lot of things going on within the band. At this point, the band, or nowadays they call it the brand, was actually bigger than the guys in the band. By 1977, they had Kiss dolls, Kiss color forms, Kiss coloring books, Kiss lunch boxes, Kiss, it's a little warm in here. Hold on a second, I'm going to turn the air on. They had Kiss remote-controlled vans. Kiss was all over the place. Kiss was a phenomenon. And by 1978, there was a musical menace that came out of Europe that was hitting the club scene called disco. And, well, needless to say, there were radio stations back in the day that played everything. And of course, you had three types of stations at the time. You had rock, you had country, well, actually four. You had oldies, and also you had pop. Now, the pop stations would play just about everything and anything. And what happened was pop stations were playing almost nothing but disco. And Kiss was kind of taking a hiatus. They spent a good majority of their time touring and recording, and egos clashing. And it was, they just wanted to take a break. There were rumors that the band was breaking up. I know Ace and Peter wanted to leave the band early on, but manager Bill O'Coin had said, well, I got an idea. How about you each release a solo record, and then we'll put out a best of album. So they each recorded a solo record, and needless to say, Ace Frehley's was the most popular of the four. And then they came out with Double Platinum, which they put some of their so far best of, greatest hits that they had so far. Because, they released 6 studio albums and 2 live recordings. And now here they are releasing solo records of each band member and Double Platinum. And the thing about Double Platinum is some of the songs that were on here, they re-recorded. And I'm going to get to that, what I like and don't like. And as for Motley Crue Greatest Hits, this is probably, I think, their second best of collection. Their first one, I think, came out in 1991. It was called Decade of Decadence. And again, it was one of those things, the best of so far. Which I guess they meant, Motley was kind of suffering as well. After the success of Dr. Feelgood, Vince wanted to take a hiatus. The band wanted to record. And they would, they would go ahead and fire Vince, replace him with John Corabi, and by 1994 come out with the first album in 5 years, simply titled Motley Crue, which I call Motley Crud. 1994, that's for a different time. But yeah, I think what happened was these, like Kiss Double Platinum, I think was kind of half-assed in a way, because the record company wanted them to put out a record, and again, they were taking a hiatus. They were all in, Ace was interested in doing a solo project. Gene was interested in other things, and Peter Criss was struggling with substance abuse. I mean, him and Ace both. I mean, they were hanging out and partying with the likes of people like John Belushi and like all these types that were drug addicts. I mean, cocaine was flowing through the United States like Hershey chocolate bars. But we're not going to get to the bad stuff. We're going to get to the reviewing these two legendary compilations. Who will win this battle royale? Kiss Double Platinum or Motley Crue Greatest Hits? And remember, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box below, ring the bell for notifications, and tell all your friends, tell your family, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your classmates, your coworkers, your roommates, your supervisors, anybody and your pets, anybody that wants to kick it old school. And without further ado, let's see how these bad Oscars rank out, shall we? Okay, in the case of Kiss Double Platinum versus Motley Crue Greatest Hits, you got Strutter 78 versus Too Fast for Love. Ooh, here's the thing. I love the song Strutter. I don't like this new version, Strutter 78. I could tell that's not Peter Criss on the drums. And Too Fast for Love, it really rocks. So, but still, despite the fact I don't like this version of Strutter, I'm still giving it a point along with Too Fast for Love because I still love the song Strutter. Now, Do You Love Me versus Shout at the Devil. I've said it many times before. I do not dig the song Do You Love Me. It's just Paul Stanley's ego getting in his way. So you know what? I'm giving that to Shout at the Devil. Let's see. Hard Luck Woman versus Looks That Kill. Oh boy, this is really going to be hurtful because I love Hard Luck Woman and I love Looks That Kill. You know what? Heck it, I am giving them each a point. They're tied on that song. Calling Dr. Love versus Too Young to Fall in Love. What can I say? I love them both. Again, those songs are tied. Let Me Go, Rock and Roll versus Smokin' in the Boys' Room. Despite the fact that Smokin' in the Boys' Room is a cover of the band The Brownsville Station, it was the first time I heard Motley Crue. It was the first time I really heard any hard rock when I was 7 years old. So, you know what? And I love the song Calling Dr. Love. They both get a point. And so far where we're at is Kiss with 4 and Motley Crue at 5. Let Me Go, oh yeah, Love Gun versus Home Sweet Home. You know what? I have nothing against power ballads from hard rock and metal bands. I think they're, it's a good game changer. They're good tracks to play, make mixtapes back in the day when some headbanger gets with his girl. So, and actually, you know what? No, it doesn't get a point because it's the most overplayed Motley Crue song in the history of their discography. It's a good song, I like it, but it can't surpass Love Gun. Firehouse, God of Thunder versus Wild Side. Oh boy, I love both of them. They're all about, gods and destruction and everything. So you know what? I'm giving them both a point. Okay, Firehouse versus Girls, Girls, Girls. Again, another overplayed track by Motley. it's okay, but to me it can't go up against Firehouse. Hotter Than Hell versus Dr. Feelgood. Oh boy. There's another tie right there because again, I love both those songs. And let's see. I Want You versus Kickstart My Heart. You know what? It starts off, almost like John Lennon Imagine, and Paul Stanley, he starts singing really soft, and then he goes, I want you! I mean, he does like these high vocal gymnastics. I'm not a big fan, so it goes to Kickstart My Heart. Deuce versus Same Old Situation. Same Old Situation, once again, from Dr. Feelgood. It's one of those tracks that's just been played to death. I mean, the thing is about Dr. Feelgood was that album for Motley Crue was what Hysteria is for Def Leppard, or what what the Black Album is for Metallica. So let's see. I'm giving it to Deuce. 100,000 Years versus Don't Go Away Mad, Just Go Away. Again, not a big fan of that song. Paul is just, really squeezing himself to hit that high pitch. And you know what? Don't Go Away Mad, that is the ultimate killer breakup song of the 1980s. That gets a point. Detroit Rock City versus Without You. I love Detroit Rock City and I love Without You. It is a power ballad, but you know what? That is one of those great power ballads that, you could just tell that significant other of yours about how you really feel about them, just, by telling them thank you. And you know what? They get a point. Okay, Rock Bottom Intro / She versus Primal Scream. Okay, this is where we get to where I call it Motley Crud. I mean, it was great that the original lineup of Motley Crue came back, but, there they are doing that whole late 90s thing, trying to fit in with the newer generation of rock fans, coming back after grunge kind of imploded, like in the mid to late 90s. Not a big fan of it. So I am giving that to Kiss, even though I'm not a big fan of this version of Rock Bottom Intro She. Wow. Rock and Roll All Night versus Sick Love Song. I'm more of a fan of the live version of Rock and Roll All Night than the studio. I mean, it's been played to death on radio, just like some of these Motley tunes. But you know what? I don't like Sick Love Song, so I'm giving it a point. Beth versus Afraid. Okay, here we go right here. I really love the song Beth. I was at a karaoke one time and I brought this copy of Double Platinum with me because they didn't have enough Kiss songs in their book. Originally, I wanted to sing Detroit Rock City, but the DJ asked if I would sing Beth because it was one of her favorite tunes. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. Cool. So she has me sing it, and before you know it, every couple in the place was on the dance floor slow dancing to me singing Beth. So the song Beth, and I love the track Motley Crue's Afraid. The song Beth has a special meaning to me. So therefore, because I also like the song Afraid, I'm going to give it to both of them. All right, Making Love versus If I Die Tomorrow. I do love this track, even though it didn't come on the original Greatest Hits. It came on the 2-disc set, Red, White, and Crue. I still love this track. I love the video. I mean, I love how autobiographical it is for the band, especially the video, where you see the girl in the art gallery and she sees all the artwork come to life, and it was based around all the bad things that happened to the guys in the band, like Vince Neil's car crash that killed his friend, Tommy Lee doing jail time accused of spousal abuse, Nikki Sixx, you know, coming back after a heroin overdose, and Mick Mars having, you know, all the physical issues that he has. And you know what? Making Love is a great track too. It kind of has that, almost to me, like that Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love vibe. So I'm giving them both a point. All right. Come On and Love Me versus Saints of Los Angeles. You know, I only like the song The Saints of Los Angeles, and I love the tune Come On and Love Me, so they're getting a point each. And now it ends for Motley Crue, but you got one more left for Kiss. Cold Gin versus The Animal in Me. Cold Gin gets the point. Now all that's left is a Black Space and Black Diamond. You know what? Black Diamond does it. So right now, here's the end result. 17 points for Kiss Double Platinum and 13 points for Motley Crue Greatest Hits. So that means Kiss there you have it. Kiss Double Platinum wins. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got much more coming up. Stick around. Until then, this is your old pal Russell JS. I want you to keep it fresh, keep it real, keep it chill, keep kicking it old school, listen to old school music, watch old school TV shows, watch old school movies, play old school video games, and get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, less chaos, no chaos, less drama, no drama. And as always, Godspeed. May the force be with you, and shakalaka kapow!